Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. New Cowboys edition named Most Overrated Player at his position. The Dallas Cowboys have opted for familiarity this offseason, but one of their new additions to the 2024 squad is being singled out. In a stretch where Dallas didn't make many changes, the return of running back Ezekiel Elliott is already drawing warnings. In a May 21 article from Bleacher Report's Alex K., he names Elliott as the NFL's most overrated RB. The Cowboys re-signed former starter Ezekiel Elliott to a one-year deal shortly after the draft concluded. That decision could come back to haunt the Cowboys as they try to reach an NFC championship game for the first time in nearly 3 decades. Their backfield sorely disappointed in each of their last 3 playoff exits, 2 of which featured Elliott prominently, K wrote. K's argument is mostly rooted in the fact that Elliott's production has dwindled in the past few years. It's a fair point, but the term overrated feels off to describe Elliott's situation. After all, he's playing on a $2 million, one-year contract according to Spotrac. It's hard to see how he's overrated or overvalued when he's playing on close to the league minimum. Years before he left the Cowboys, it became clear that Elliott's production wasn't going to sustain at the Pro Bowl rate fans saw from 2016 to 2019. The shelf life of an NFL RB is shorter than ever, and Zeke is not immune to that. 2020 was notable because Elliott failed to reach the 1,000-yard rushing mark despite playing 15 games. More importantly, he averaged 4.0 yards per carry according to Pro Football Reference. He somewhat rebounded with 1,002 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4.2 yards per carry in 2021. But he was still less effective than his first 4 seasons in the league, all while his contract made him the highest-paid RB in the NFL. 2022 was the nail in the coffin, though. Tony Pollard became the feature back at that point, while Elliott was grinding out 3.8 yards per carry and being isolated to short yardage situations. His 1 year with the New England Patriots didn't see him fare better. Elliott started 5 games and made 17 appearances, but averaged just 3.5 yards per carry and reached 642 yards on the ground. While Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn got to back up Pollard last year, the Cowboys had franchise-tagged Pollard and needed to utilize him to get their money's worth. Now with Elliott on a cheap deal, there is far less reason to not utilize the young RB duo. Dowdle averaged 4.2 yards per carry in 2023 and reached 505 yards from scrimmage. After 3 years in a very small role, the former South Carolina Gamecock had finally shown his worth. The same can't be said for Vaughn. Vaughn was an exciting draft pick for Dallas in the 2023 NFL Draft, partially due to his father working in the scouting department. But there were plenty of questions about whether the former Kansas State star could translate to the NFL. The Cowboys didn't give him many opportunities, 23 rushes for 40 yards, but Vaughn failed to make noise. In an offense where the other 2 RBs were still effective, the rookie had a tough first year. 2024 may be a make-or-break season for the 22-year-old. NFC contender may shockingly cut $39 million playmaker. NFC contender the Dallas Cowboys may shockingly cut $39 million playmaker wide receiver Brandon Cooks this offseason. According to a report, it suggests that America's team may have to cut or trade the veteran amid their contractual negotiations. The team is in a sticky situation, so shedding off some salary by making this move would come with sacrifice to keep Dak Prescott and Ceedee Lamb. However, Cooks hasn't been as productive as they were hoping last season. Lamb and Prescott are entering the final year of their contracts, carrying a $55.45 million cap hit for 2024. Time is ticking for the Cowboys to create some magic in saving space to give them new deals. They're hoping neither player will hold out this year since they'll be looking for a new contract before playing their final season. If so, this could force the Cowboys' hand to make some fast moves to save space, which could include cutting or trading Cooks. Micah Parsons is also eligible for an extension this year, but he isn't in a rush to get it despite missing the first day of OTAs. The Cowboys only have $1.925 million in cap space, so they may have to make some difficult that could raise some eyebrows. Bleacher Report suggests that a trade or release is the best step to manage their payroll in a move they can't afford. It's a creative way, but that means missing out on a player that's been a part of the team for the last season. However, they could target a receiver in the market like Hunter Renfrow or Michael Thomas, but that isn't expected. The thing about is that the Cowboys could save their financial casualty by extending Prescott and Lamb. It's a tricky situation, but one to watch. The idea of the Cowboys moving on from Cooks wouldn't sound bad if they had the depth for it. However, the release of Michael Gallup leaves only two reliable receivers on the team. Dallas can't afford to lose Cooks unless they're able to sign a replacement. They were able to bring in Zay Jones, but he moved on to sign with the Cardinals. The Cowboys have done little to nothing this offseason to improve their roster, so it shouldn't surprise anyone if they move on from Cooks. However, if Lamb is holding, then that would mean Cooks would have to step up as their new WR1. The receiving outlook doesn't look promising for a team that was hoping to all-in this offseason. Cavonte Turpin, Ryan Flournoy and Jalen Brooks are the backlands of the receiving core that remain. Cowboys news: Kyler Murray appears to be recruiting Ceedee Lamb amid contract holdout. Dallas Cowboys All-Pro wide receiver Ceedee Lamb will not attend his team's organized team activities, OTAs. The team's OTAs began Tuesday, and the star wide receiver will continue to be a no-show at voluntary work as he is in the midst of a contract holdout. Lamb wants more money, and he won't show up to team events until he gets it. In the meantime, Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, Lamb's former college teammate, is doing his best to lure in the three-time Pro Bowler, or at least it appears so. Murray shared a story, reliving the glory days when he and Lamb were teammates at the University of Oklahoma. Coincidence that Murray posts this now? I think not. The two offensive stars were both brilliant in their time at Norman. Murray went on to win the 2018 Heisman Trophy, accumulated 5,406 yards and 50 touchdowns in 17 games as a starter, and was the number 1 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. As for Lamb, he was a consensus All-American in 2019, recording 2,393 yards, 173 receptions, and 32 touchdowns in 40 games. Prior to the 2020 NFL Draft, Lamb's class, Murray expressed his desire for the Cardinals to draft Lamb with their number 8 overall pick. "Me and Ceedee have a great relationship," Murray said. "That's one of my boys. Obviously, I don't make the choices, but yeah, if we pick Ceedee, that would be great." Lamb fell to number 17 to the Cowboys. The Cardinals went with Isaiah Simmons at number 8, and he is no longer on the team. Murray and Lamb were superstars in college and continue to be so at the pro level. Murray is sitting pretty in Arizona, with more money going into his bank account in 2025. Lamb's situation is the opposite. He is set to make $17.9 million this year on the 5th-year option and is eligible for the franchise tag in 2025. However, Lamb wants nothing to do with that and wants to be one of the top-paid receivers in the NFL now. A lot will hinge on the Cowboys' front office and what they decide to do with Lamb. In the meantime, he will hold out, but if recent history tells us anything, eventually, things will go Lamb's way. The most recent players to hold out were running back Ezekiel Elliott and right guard Zach Martin. Both held out into training camp in recent summers, and the Cowboys brass eventually gave in prior to the season commencing. The 25-year-old is looking to be the highest-paid receiver and reset the market, but so are other star receivers, such as Vikings superstar Justin Jefferson and Bengals superstar Ja'Marr Chase. All want to raise the pay scale for others at their position. At the moment, Dolphins star receiver Tyreek Hill is making $30 million a year, making him the highest-paid receiver in the NFL. Lamb led the league in catches in 2023, with 135 for 1,749 yards and 12 touchdowns, earning All-Pro honors for the first time in his career. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Ceedee Lamb? Leave your opinion in the comments.